I'm Bea.
And I'm Sam.
And we're two best friends who like to talk shit about smut, wingspan,
and sometimes books.
And welcome to our Author Spotlight, where twice a month we like to sit down to talk about our favourite books.
Completely spoiler-free and the perfect way to top up the TBR.
We're back
Again.
with another Author Spotlight.
And we would have probably said this a million times because the way we record, we not in sync. But happy Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, I should say. Sorry. Happy holidays. And when this comes out, very soon to be, a happy new year.
I know. This year has just flown. Considering we started the podcast in March.
Wild.
What a year we've had.
Did you ever think, right, here's a little Sam and Bea lore before the podcast. Did you ever think in last New Year's Eve party where I was singing karaoke and peed myself in your house, just a little bit though, not a big pee, just a little pee, in your kitchen, in your old house? First of all, old house, you probably wouldn't have been thinking that, would you? And also, did you think you'd be ending the year with a podcast?
Absolutely not. I'd have laughed at you.
Imagine if I'd have said that to you that night.
Like, oh, this time next year you'll be in a new house and we'll have a podcast in studio in your garage. I'd have been like,
wild.
I'd be like, come on, Bea.
And also, right, humble brag, but not just a podcast that people listen to.
A podcast that's got like month-on-month growth.
A podcast that, and these things don't matter, but a podcast that's made it into like the charts.
I'm so proud of us.
Same. Me too. A podcast, sorry. A podcast where you would have spoken to some of your favourite authors.
Stop it, because when we started and we were like on little headsets with microphones, like, I absolutely did not know what we were doing. If you said to me, do you know what, this year we're going to interview Carrie Hart, Penn Cole, LJ Andrews, like, I'd have been like, oh, piss off.
Amavina Cole.
Literally, Rachel Schneider, like Kate Golden.
Kate Golden.
I'd have been like, come on now, babe.
Insane.
Ridiculous. I still have a little bit of like imposter syndrome where I'm like, this shouldn't be happening to me. Like, people shouldn't want to listen to me talk about books because I have not a clue what I'm talking about.
Yeah, same. You're not alone there.
But here we are.
And a happy new year.
Yeah, happy new year. Hope everyone enjoys whatever celebrations they have going on.
Are we having a party? Are you having a party?
I am having a party.
Can't wait to pee on your floor in this house. Oh, look, even Simbi knew then. He was like, don't be at my new house.
Only I pee here.
Only me. So, end of December, that means it's you.
Yay, I'm really excited to talk about this book.
I'm excited to hear about it because this is very kind, but we got sent this book as well and it came quite a while ago. So I've just been like staring at it on my shelf like, I need to know what you're about.
Well, strap in, because when I tell you there were tears at the end of this book, I mean...
Yes, you cried.
No, I didn't cry. I sobbed.
Ooh.
And I went and messaged the author straight away. I was like, hi, excuse me, what are you doing to me?
I did see that, yes.
Yeah. So this month I read A Crown of Star and Ash by Victoria K. Taylor. This is book 1 in the Fate of Ashes series.
Ooh.
It's going to be 4 books and a novella. The novella is already out. It's a prequel novella and it is called The Lady of Fire and Light. This is a KU book, so anyone who subscribes to Kindle Unlimited, it's free on there. It's also on Audible. It's 1 credit on Audible. The paperback is $12.99 on Amazon and the hardback is $22.99 on Amazon. And yeah, it's going to be a 4 books, 1 novella series, so 5 books in total.
And sorry, did you say the novella is out?
Yes, it came out in August of this year.
Did you read it or did you just read book 1?
I've only read book 1, but I am going to go back because without giving too much away, the novella is about one of my favourite characters. So it's not about either of the main characters, but it's about one of my favourite characters. So I'm 100% going to go back and read it. And when I spoke to Victoria this week, she said, well, if you cried at book 1, maybe skip the novella because it will break your heart.
Oh, no.
And I was like, nice one.
Cheers.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Adds to basket.
Yeah. Download on Kindle. So, Victoria mostly answers to Tori and has been writing books for most of her life. After specialising in creative writing throughout high school, she went on to study communications, journalism and English literature and stopped writing completely during this time. After a long break, she recently decided to delve into the world of adult fantasy with her debut novel, A Crown of Star and Ash. She now resides in Florida and spends her day working her day job, reading, writing, playing The Sims, still, and being a mother to a rotten snowshoe Siamese cat called Sebastian.
That's so cute.
She's lush, honestly. From the conversations I've had with her this week about the book, she seems like the kindest human being ever.
Oh,
yeah, really, really nice. I love it when authors are nice to us. Not that any author
they're
said.
all nice. I know, everyone's so nice. We feel like a bit of like always like a wish-washy answer when we say this, but genuinely, like everyone we interact with is the nicest person ever.
So
just give us a bad egg, guys. Come on, don't be a twat to us. We know you're out there.
Yeah, someone's got to be out there who hates us. Okay, the book description. When the kingdom of Praeton began overthrowing the surrounding kingdoms of Crygor, no one knew why. As a healer for Praeton, Dea believed that there was no higher honour in the realm. But when Dea is imprisoned after learning an enormous secret that threatens the regime, her love and loyalty for her kingdom is shattered. Beaten and tortured, a new, terrible power is unleashed inside of her, a power that she cannot control. Forced outside of the only kingdom that she has ever known, Dea has no choice but to team up with a band of unlikely rebels that all have one thing in the desire for the destruction of Praeton. One of these rebels is Calum, a male who spent most of his life inside a prison. Having lost everything to Praeton, Calum hates everything and everyone from the kingdom, including Dea. But Calum has a secret, one that could turn the tide of the war, and one that keeps him pushing everyone and everything away. As Dea struggles to recover from the trauma of her imprisonment, she is forced to face wear her allegiance with the kingdom that betrayed her, or with the male who could destroy it forever. A Crown of Star and Ash is an adult fantasy romance book perfect for those who love the fae and romance of Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses series, but want the adventure and political intrigue of Game of Thrones. If you like enemies to lovers, morally grey MMCs, and action and plot with a dash of spice, A Crown of Star and Ash is for you.
Ooh.
So, as that blurb said, our FMC Dea is a healer. So at quite a young age, her mum realised she's actually a very good healer. And one day she's out healing someone, and someone from the castle says, we want her to come and work in the castle, you know, be a healer for the royal family and in our infirmary for all the soldiers, the generals, the guards. So at quite a young age, she goes to live in the castle of Praeton, the kingdom that she lives in. It quickly becomes evident that she is better than everybody. So there'll be like a group of healers, like say 5 of them trying to heal one person and they're failing. Dea will come in on her own, heal the person. So there's quite a lot of animosity within the castle because none of the other healers like her. They're a bit like, what's the point in us being here when she can just do it all? And the healers are looked after by a woman called the High Mother. So she's like the head of the healers, for a better term. And she hates Dea because Dea is more powerful than her. And has more healing magic than her. So again, Dea can do things that the High Mother can't. So one day she's walking back to her room at the end of the day. You know, all the other healers eat together, they go out to parties together. Day is never invited, so she's pretty much always on her own. So everyone's out gallivanting. She's walking back to her room on her own, and she walks past the High Mother's office, and the door's open. And the king's second in command is in there, and he's asking about a particular kind of poison. Dea interprets this in a way and is found out to have this belief about what the people working in Preton are doing. She gets accused of treason. The High Mother puts her into the dungeon of the castle and whips her. Not just with like a whip. It's called a cat o' nine tails. So it's like 9 strands hanging off and then 9 hooks on the end of every strand. And that's what Dea gets whipped with. After months of this, they decide, you've been found guilty of treason. You're going to Ironbolt, which is their prison. Now, I think it's quite common in like Fae books that iron can affect a Fae's magic.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the prison is made out of iron, so already your magic when you're inside is diluted. But then they have something called Fae Ravine, which is like something that suppresses magic. So the shackles on their arms and their legs are Fae Ravine. The water that they give them as prisoners is laced with Fae Ravine. So they have no access to their magic whatsoever. And she's sentenced to 100 years in Ironbolt. And as a prisoner of Ironbolt, every day you are made to pick up a pickaxe and chip away at the wall to get to the iron that they use in like their weapons, and to obviously make this Fae Ravine, which dilutes people's magic. She of the prison with a very unlikely group of rebels, and the story follows her and this group of different types of Fae as they try to get to the camp of the rebellion. So the way that the world or the kingdom is set up is that each kingdom has its own type of magic. So there's a kingdom that's like up in the mountains, completely covered by snow and like huge icebergs almost like keeping it in, and they all have like magic of like frost and can manipulate cold weather. There's a kingdom of like sea fae, and obviously they can manipulate the weather and like use the water. There's celestial fae, and they can almost like disperse the air around them. So they can't like necessarily make things levitate, but they could make the air denser underneath something so that it would rise. What other types of magic are there? Just like your normal fire magic, like wind magic, but they're all specific to where you're from within the realm. So the magic system in this is really, really interesting. Yeah. Any more? Is that all you can? You have to stop there. I don't think I can. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. This book took me on a journey I didn't know I needed to go on. Oh gosh. Okay. Going to questions. Yeah, I think so. Okay. What was your favourite part of the book? So when I say this book is enemies to lovers, enemies isn't a strong enough word. This is like arch nemesis to lovers. Oh, like, I love it. They hate each other, and it's not one-sided. It's not like one of them pining and the other one being like, fucking hate you. No, he tells her she's a piece of shit. She calls him a prick. Like, there's no love lost between them. Like, they hate each other. Oh, I love it. And then they're in the middle of an argument, like screaming at each other, and he just goes, fuck it, grabs her and starts kissing her. And that, for me, I was like, I have been waiting for this. Yeah, so that's my favourite part of the book. Okay. Did you race to the end, or was it more of a slow burn? So it was a bit of both for me, really, which I know is not really an answer, but I started this book when I was unwell, so I'd like read a couple of pages and fall asleep. Like I was on a lot of medication when I had my infection, so I'd read a couple of pages, fall asleep, and then pick it back up. So in the beginning, when I was unwell, it was a slow burn because I couldn't read more than a few pages. When I was well, I was up till like 2 a.m. reading this, crying, like snot running down my face. So a bit of both, but not because of anything to do with the book, but because I was unwell when I started it. But I think for everybody else, it would be a race to the finish.
Okay. Which scene has stuck with you the most?
So there's a couple of scenes that like are really poignant in my mind, but there's a fight at the end of this book that I was reading it, but I was also like shouting at my Kindle because I just had so many emotions about the people that were involved and what was happening that I was just screaming. I'm not normally like that where I'll like physically shout out loud at my book.
A fight, like a battle or an argument?
A battle, but not like two armies between two people, like dueling almost.
A duel, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that scene for me, obviously I can't say too much and I can't say who's involved, but that scene for me was just like so like gut-wrenching and like, I don't know, just had me on the edge of my seat.
Ooh, okay. Would you want to read another book by this author?
Absolutely. I've already been messaging her, asking her when book 2 comes out. I'm definitely going to go and read that novella. I didn't realise there was a novella, so when she messaged me the name of the novella, I was like, adding to my TBR. So yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. What surprised you most about this book?
I don't think this is a spoiler. I think I can say this.
Okay.
We get introduced to somebody who I assumed was going to be a love interest. Maybe not the MMC, but I thought maybe we might have a triangle or we might have a will they, won't they. And Victoria killed him. That's not a spoiler because like pretty much as soon as like it happens in such a short space of time.
Okay,
I don't feel like that's a spoiler. But I was gasping.
I love an author that's got like the balls to just be like dead.
And like, even though you only meet them for a short period of time, you do get a connection with them. So that death, like, hurts. I felt it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
and I didn't see that coming. I was like, oh, this person's going to be in this story like for the duration,
right?
And then they weren't. So, yeah.
Okay. How does the book's title work in relation to the book's contents?
I can't say. But I will talk about the stars because I did mention it when I was talking about all the different types of magic. There are star seers in this book who look at the stars and obviously interpret the constellations and interpret like the positioning of the moon and things like that. But the star seers have a like connection with the sky, and they get sent prophecies through the stars. When they get given a prophecy, they sort of like glaze over, go really still. They speak the prophecy out loud in a really ancient old language, and whoever the prophecy is pertaining to, the prophecy gets inked onto their skin as they're saying it. The prophecy comes out as like a tattoo. So that's the star element, and I can't say much more.
Oh, that's so interesting. I love it.
It was the magic in this, even though like it's types of magic that we've seen before, it was written in such a unique way that it almost felt like nothing you've read before. It was, the magic was really good.
And did this book remind you of any other books?
Yes and no. In some ways, this book was so unique with the story, with the way things happened, that like I can't compare it to other things. The magic system and how it like ties to which kingdom you're from sort of gave me like Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. Parts of the story with the different kingdoms and the battles that were sort of going on did give me Throne of Glass, not from like Aylin's perspective, but from like the kingdoms, the rulers. That sort of gave me Throne of Glass vibes.
Mhm.
But this book, even though it's got spice, like there is sexual scenes in this book, it is like epic fantasy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And the side characters in this book are fantastic. So, as I said, the novella follows one of the side characters as a prequel to this book, and
Mhm.
she might be one of my favorite people because
Wow.
she like doesn't give a fuck.
Mhm.
Like, she tell people exactly what she thinks of them. She's a warrior. She's a trained warrior. That's what she's trained as all her life, and she does not give a shit about anyone or anything. And
Ooh.
like, oh, she's a delight. And
Ooh.
yeah, the side characters in this really, really deliver.
This whole episode is me just going ooh, 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 but it is genuinely because like I did not expect that from this book. I don't know
Yeah.
what I expected. Like I had, when I say zero expectations, not in a negative way, but like I didn't have
Yeah,
any
yeah.
expectations. But yeah, it sounds. Oh my god, I can't wait to read this.
Okay, so I did ask the author about book 2, and she's hoping for February, March of 2025. So only a couple of months.
Okay,
Yeah,
so not
to
long.
wait. But you do have a novella. If you did want to start it, you do have a novella to sort of tide you over in between. Yeah, book 2 should be with us very shortly.
Ooh, I'm so excited to read this.
Yeah, this was a good one. Like, all of them have been good. To be fair, we've been spoilt because
We have.
everything's just been fantastic. But the fact that this reduced me to screaming and crying, like,
Or maybe I do read this over the Christmas break because I might need like the family emotional support if I'm gonna be crying
Yeah.
at the end of it.
I mean, you might not, but I don't know. I found the ending, like, obviously I can't spoil it, but I just found it like really poignant. Like, the things that she'd been through, like she'd been whipped, she'd been tortured, she'd been imprisoned, and she hadn't done anything wrong. She just overheard the wrong conversation, and the outcome of that, and like her ending, I just was like, oh, incredible.
This is on the TBR for sure.
Yes. Check back in February, March, and I'll let you know about book 2.
Yes. Lovely. Well, when this comes out, I was just looking to see, because obviously like we have to pre-record, particularly with the holiday seasons at the
Yes.
moment. So obviously this, if when you're listening to this episode comes out on Monday the 30th of December.
Yeah.
And then our Wednesday regular episode, because we're not stopping for New Year's. No. We don't. Holidays, they mean nothing to us. Time with family means nothing to us.
We are girl bosses.
We're bossing this. I was just trying to remember, what is our episode at that point? Is it the Ever King? No.
It's not. We are doing a recap of our best reads of 2024. So obviously we've
We
given
are.
ourselves right to the end of the year in case we read anything absolutely phenomenal over Christmas. But yeah, that first episode back is our best reads of 2024.
And the following Wednesday's episode is the Ever King.
Yes. Then we get
Ooh.
into the Ever. We're in the
The
Everseas.
Oh,
And then we'll be meeting with LJ Andrews, which is just wild.
happy fucking 2025.
Literally kicking it off with the biggest bang.
Big Bang.
Mm.
Eric Bang Bloodsinger. Lovely. Are we done?
I think so.
Woohoo.
Woohoo.